Hello everyone and welcome to Flying Ants Academy. So continuing with the basics of C programming, today we will be talking about variables and constant. What is a variable and what is a constant? It is very important to learn these concepts to move further and write programs. So apart from variables and constants, we will also be moving forward and writing another program today. So it will be something which will be a bit more complex than simple hello world, but still it will be very easy. So let's dive in. Okay, so let's start with variables and constants. Okay, well, again, those who are actually watching a video for the first time, they might have a problem with the handwriting, but I hope it's legible. I mean, you can at least understand what I'm saying. Okay, so first, what is a constant? Okay, so constant, as the name implies, is something whose value does not change, right? Something whose value does not change is called as a constant. So in C, we have basically two types of constant. One is primary constants, other is secondary constants. So now we will just take care of primary constants. Primary constants. Secondary constants we will be discussing at a later stage. Okay, so there are three types of primary constants. One is integer, the other is decimal, or we call as float actually. Third is character. Okay, so integer is anything which is a whole number, so negative or positive. So it might be minus 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, minus 250, 300 something. So any of these numbers, any of the whole numbers are actually categorized as integers. Float values are like floating point value, which is actually decimal values. So in C or in computer terminologies, it is called as floating values. So 1.1, 2.5, 168.343. So anything which has a decimal into it is called as a float. Okay. Now character is simple. We have A, B, C, E, or whatever. So character is just one character. Okay, not a set of characters. So just one character which is a character type. Okay, so these are basically three types of constants that you have to be aware of, and these are three constants that we will be using in our programs. Right, we'll be dealing with numbers, we'll be dealing with characters, we'll be dealing with set of characters as well. So this is something which is required. Okay, so now let's move on to what is a variable. Okay, so what is a variable? As a name suggests, whose value can change. Okay, so let's say we have an integer constant as 5. Okay, this is a constant, and we have a variable x. This is a variable. Okay, now if we write x is equal to 5, this means this x now holds 5. Okay, so let's say let's take an example. I will just give you a small pictorial representation of the computer memory. So let's say this is a memory. Okay, memory has various cells, you can say, or addresses. So memory has various addresses, various cells, you can say. So let's say I put name over this memory as x. Okay, and we stored the value 5 over here. So x is equal to 5 means that there is a memory location inside the computer whose name is x, whose we have given the name x, and it stores the value 5. So let's suppose that we remove this 5, okay, and store the value 10 over here. So in this case, x becomes 10. Cool? Simple. So this is the concept of variable. That variable is nothing but a memory location, a memory address, or a cell, okay, a location inside a memory whom we have given a name, and whatever is the content of that memory location, that we can access by this name. Okay, so whatever will be the content inside that memory location, this is one memory location. Let's say there's something here which is 15.6, and we give it a name as y. So whenever we access y, we'll get this 15.6. The value of this cell can change. Okay, instead of 15.6, let's say it can also be, for example, it can then turn out to be, let's say, minus 20.3. So now if we access y, if we try to access y, it will hold value minus 20.3. So in basic terms, again, just to reiterate what I have just said, that variables are nothing but names given to memory locations which can hold some values, and these values can keep on changing. The name will not change. The values can keep on changing. Cool. So with y, we can keep this name as y, and as and when the value changes, the content or the content of y will change. Now, a few rules that we have to follow. A variable type can only store its own kind of variable. Like if this is an integer variable, it can only store integer values. If this is a floating point variable, it can only store floating point values. So the rules for writing variables is, so before just writing x is equal to 10, what we would actually write int x in our C program. Int stands for integer. So once we write int x, what will happen is, if this is the computer's memory location, in fact, this is the computer's memory and there are various cells, okay. So what will happen is the computer automatically will save, or it will just name a memory location as x and keep it secured for this variable. So this is taken. As soon as we write int x and as soon as the program gets compiled, the memory location will have a location, a cell named x, because we have initialized it. So integer x, and it will know that it can only hold integer values. Now this x cannot hold minus 10.5 or it cannot hold a. No, this x cannot hold anything because this x is of integer type. It can only hold a value of integer, like minus 1 it can hold. Similarly, if we want to declare a floating variable, so we'll write float y. That's it. Again, as soon as this is encountered in the memory location, maybe anywhere, maybe there is some other memory cells over here, let's say some other cells, any number of cells, and somewhere here it will store y. It will keep y. Okay. So, and then if we want to store characters, so the syntax is char and any name, let's say b. So syntax is char b. So b is actually not the character, but b is the name of the memory location, and inside that memory location we can save anything like a or c. Okay. Now there are some rules for naming these variables. So there are a few rules. I'll just go through it in short. All of these things I will be giving you as notes. Okay. If you want, you can go to the link below. It also has notes from the previous lectures. I've created a Google Classroom. Over there you'll get all the study materials that you require. So okay, coming back. So the variable name should always start with a character. Okay, small or capital character doesn't matter. It can also start with a underscore. A variable name cannot start with number. So we cannot write something called as int 1. No, this is wrong. Or we cannot write something called as int 1ab. This is also wrong. What we can write is int abc1. So this abc1 is the name of the variable. So when we write, let's say we write int number, num. So what it will do again is it will take a memory cell and it will call it num. It doesn't have to be just one character, okay? Always we have given it as x, y, these are all just one characters, but you can also give multiple. The name can consist of multiple characters. Int num, okay? And what it will do is it will just create a cell. It will call it num. So every time you want to access num, it will access this cell and the content of this memory cell. Okay, it cannot start with a number. It can start with an underscore. So anyway, all these rules I will be giving you in written in text. And as and when you start practicing, when you start naming the variables, when you start writing, you'll get used to it. There's no need to like literally memorize it. Even if you give an incorrect variable name, the compiler will let you know that the name is incorrect, it will not work properly. Okay, cool. So this is done with variables and constants. At the same time, there is something called as keywords. So there are certain keywords like auto, break, something. Again, all these keywords will be given to you in notes. You cannot use these keywords as variable names because these keywords are predefined keywords. You cannot use these keywords as variable names because the compiler will get confused about it. Okay, so cool. So just to end this concept, a variable is a name or a name of the memory location, memory address, which contains or which saves a constant inside it. Okay, and we will access that value using that variable name. The content of the cell can change. The content of the variable can change, but the type of variable will only store its own type of constant. If it is an integer variable, it can only store integer. If it's a float variable, it can only store float. You cannot write int ABC and then store 12.5 into it. It will not work at all. Okay, so now we have this knowledge. We are armed with this thing. Now let us write a simple program. I'll just open my VI editor and I will write a simple program of multiplying two numbers, dividing two numbers, subtracting two numbers, and addition of two numbers. Okay, this is very simple. So let's move on and let's do that. We'll open VIM. Let's call it numbers.c. Cool. So again, we'll start with hash include stdio.h. Very important. So then I'll write int main. Okay. Okay, so now we need two numbers. So let's say two numbers are a and b. We'll type int a comma b. So now we are declaring two variables. The one of the variable name is a, the other variable name is b, and it is being of integer type. So this can store integer values. Okay. Now we want to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. So what we can do is we can again, to add these two integer numbers, we can create another variable. We can call this int add. Okay. To hold subtraction, we can create int sub. For multiplication, we can create int mul. And for division, we can create float div. Now you can ask me why float, why all these integers? Because by logic of maths, if there are two integers, if you add them, the answer will be an integer. If you subtract them, the answer will be an integer. If you multiply them, the answer will be an integer. But if you divide them, the answer might be an integer, or it might also be a floating value. It can also be a decimal. So these two are there to hold our numbers, and these four are there to hold our results. So moving forward, we have to assign values to a and b. So let's say a is equal to 5 and let's say b is equal to 8. Okay, cool. Now we will write add is equal to a plus b, and then we will print this value, printf the addition of a and b is, now this is important, write %d quotes close comma and add and this close and semicolon. Now what is this? In the hello world we have said that anything inside the quotes it will print. Okay. Now apart from this, we also want to print this variable, the value of this variable, what is inside the memory location, not what is inside, not the name of the variable, right? So the addition of a and b is this %d specifies that here it will come an integer value, and we will type comma add. Add is the name of this variable. So this is the way, this is the syntax to print an integer value on the screen. So this, the addition of a and b, when the compiler will compile it, it will execute like this, and over as soon as it finds %d, it knows that okay, I have to replace this %d with an integer variable. Why an integer variable? Because %d stands for integer variable. Now what variable will it be replaced, or what variable's value will be shown? This is passed after writing a comma over here, comma add. So whatever value will be inside this add variable, which we have defined over here, that value will be replaced here in %d and shown on the screen. Okay. Now very quickly, just let us run it. Just let us see. Again, you'll save it using W. W is the command for save, and WQ is actually save and quit. So these are just VI commands. If you want to know more about VI command, just let me know. I might create a document and I will upload it in the notes section on Google Classrooms. Okay, so we have saved this. Okay, so after saving, now we'll write gcc numbers.c. So here I got an error. It's a simple error. I missed it. So this is what happens. It's good for you to understand. This is what happens if you don't write the code well. It's telling me error expected over here. Numbers, this is open. To match with this, I've actually missed this bracket. Okay, it's telling me what is the error over here. So it's quite cool. So we have numbers.c, and over here I forgot to end this main function. So I'll close this and then I will go and compile it again. Now it is compiled, and then to show the output. Now depending on what you are using, if you're using code blocks, if you're using Windows, then this process will be a slight different. I have already covered the process in a previous video of compiling and executing programs on various platforms. If you have missed that, please go back and look into it. Okay, so hash a.out. The addition of a and b is 13. A was 5, b was 8, 13. But see, this is not really good reading, right? After it's coming flying ends. So now what we can do is, we can go over here, and after printing this, we can type something called as /n. So /n is actually escape sequence. Okay, what it will do is, it will print the value in a new line. So after this, it will just, it's like just pressing enter. So after printing this, the output will move one line below. So now if we save this, if we execute, compile it again, and if we execute this, see, the addition of a and b is 13, and then the next whatever is there, that's this /n makes it move one row down. This is the beauty of /n. It makes it the output, it makes the output more readable for by using /n. So that's good. Anyway, so let's continue now. So addition we have done. Now subtraction, again the same way, we'll write sub is equal to a minus b. Cool. Then we will write again printf, the subtraction of a and b is %d/n, comma sub save. Again same way for multiplication, multiplication is equal to a into b. So for into we have this star asterisk symbol basically. Okay, a into b. Now again printf, the multiplication of a and b is %d/n. Okay, now for division we'll write div is equal to a/b. Okay, then we'll write printf, the division of a and b is %d/n, comma div. Complete. Let's save it. Let's compile it quickly. Remember I told you I specified %d over here, and this div is type float. The compiler tells me this is not correct. It should be %f. So I'll just go back over here. I'll type %f. Save. So see, it's not good that you're getting this compiling error. So if you get it in your program, you will know what to do. gcc numbers.c. Now let us just execute it. a.out. The addition of a and b is 13. The subtraction of a and b is 3. 5 minus 8 is minus 3. The multiplication of a and b is 40. Now the division of a and b is 0.0000. This is not something that is expected. 5 by 8, it should be something 0.62. Okay, so this is, why is it not showing us the value of the point? Why is it showing 0.000? Now let's, first of all, before solving this, let's type it another way. Let's just say division is equal to b divided by a. Okay, let's save it. So 8 divided by 5. Let's see what the output will be in this case. So it shows 1. It is actually not showing anything after the point. Actually 8 divided by 5 should be, if you type it 8 divided by 5, it should be 1.6 to be exact. The problem over here is that we are actually using two integer values, and then the output we are trying to save it into float or whatever this is. This b and a is actually termed as integer. So integer doesn't actually have floating values. Now let's say to change this, I just define something called as float c comma d, right? And then I give c is equal to 5, and D is equal to 8. And then I type here C by D. And then if I execute, voila, 0.625000. Okay. And if I write D by C, we will get 1.6 exactly. Okay, so why this was happening previously? Because we were trying to divide two integers and storing the value into float, which doesn't really work, because it works if there is any integer output, but after a decimal it won't show anything, it won't compute anything. So to work with floating values, we have to define it as float as well. So float C, float D, then it works. You see very properly that every statement has been ended by a semicolon. Okay, this marks the end of this statement. All these things, every statement is ended by a semicolon. If you miss this, again the compiler will give you an error, like I got error twice. Okay, so the compiler itself will give you an error as well. Cool. So finally we have written a very simple program of addition, subtraction, division and multiplication. Now very quickly, this program actually doesn't make a lot of sense, because as a user you don't have an option to enter two numbers which will do the thing, right? You don't have an option to do this. As a programmer, I can go inside, I can change this value, right? If I want to find out division addition of 60 plus 20, so I can give this 60 and then I can give this 20. Okay, but as a user, as an end user, you can't go and change the program. So what we are supposed to do, we are supposed to take the input from the user. I will ask the user to input two numbers, and then we'll do the needful for the two numbers. Okay, so let us just remove everything. And what we can do is, now we'll give the user a command to enter two numbers. So we'll write printf entered two numbers. Okay, done. Now we can give this /n so that the input can be taken on different line. Now to accept input from the user, there is command called as scanf. We are scanning the input from the user. So printf is to display it on the screen. Scanf is to accept it from the screen, to take it from whatever is typed. So scanf, again, since we are accepting, okay, let's say enter two integer numbers. So we are accepting integer numbers. So the formatting string for integer is %d. So we'll write %d. There are two numbers, we write %d, okay, because we are accepting two numbers, comma, and then we will write ampersand a, comma, ampersand b. Okay, so we'll write ampersand a and ampersand b. So when we display the output, we don't need ampersand sign over here, we just write %d, it will display the variables. But when we want to store values in the variables, now again, this is the concept of variables. This is very useful, that this value of a can change. Whatever the user will input in this value, it will change. To accept it, this is the syntax. Remember I told you what a syntax. Syntax are rules that we need to follow. This %d tells us that it is going to be an integer value. Okay, this a is an integer variable, so the value is integer, the variable name is integer. This ampersand sign is important to accept an integer value. If we miss this, let's say we just type /a, it's a very common mistake again. If we miss this, if we save this, we'll get a compiler error. So let us go and correct this, ampersand a, ampersand b. Okay, now we also need to take c and d. So let's say after multiplication, we'll again ask user for two input. So we'll again type printf enter two decimal numbers. The common user might not know what a floating number is. Decimal is something which is widely used. /n semicolon. Again scanf, and this time you have to say this time we will use %f, and again %f, because we are taking two numbers. This %f for first number, this %f for second number. Close. Why %f? Because it's a decimal number, float number. C and D, comma, ampersand C, comma, ampersand D, brackets close. Keep in mind, there is no comma over here. Percent F, comma is over here to differentiate between the other variables. So this percent, when the compiler encounters this first percent F, it will take and C. When it requires a second percent F, it will take ampersand D. Now a better way to show the output, like the output, the division of A and B is div. First of all, these values are not A and B, these are C and D. Second is, what will the user know about C and D? This is not a very user friendly kind of output. It's not very clear. So why not just type it in a proper way? So let's say the division of percent F and percent F. So instead of this percent F, the first value would be D, the second value would be C, and it will be div. So when the compiler encounters this, what it will do is, when it will come across first percent F, it will replace it with this D, the value of D, whatever the user gives. Then it will replace it with the second percent F with value of C. The last percent F would be the division. Okay, so let us just save it, okay, and compile it, and then execute the file. So let us enter two integers, let's say 345 space. Of course, you have to give space because we're entering two different numbers. Space or enter both would work, and 120. So it gives the output. The addition of A and B is this, subtraction is this, multiplication of A and B is this. Again, see, this output is not very good. It doesn't know what A and B is. Now enter two decimal numbers. Let's say we write, we can give whole numbers as well. We can give decimal. Let's say we write 5.5 space 1.2. Or let's say we can write 10, or let's say 100.5. Division of 100.5 and 5.5 is 18.27278. Cool. So this output is not very user friendly. This output is user friendly. The division of this with this gives you these numbers. And how did this happen? Again, if we go to this file, this value, this is what causes that output to happen. So cool. So we have done a very, very simple basic program. Every one of you are supposed to go this and try it out on your systems. If you have any problems, any issues, ask me down in the comments. The notes for these lectures about keywords, about constants, about variables will be available. I am not going to give you any programs because I want you to write your own programs. If you have any problem, any error, please come and ask, run it, execute it, and hopefully you get the same answers. You can make any changes as you want to. Okay, there are various ways of doing it. Like instead of writing this in different lines, what we could do is we can still actually, because all of them are integers, we can actually write it like this as well. Okay, very simple. This is possible. No error will be given over here. I just segregated it so that you could understand. So any way that you wish, you can write, you can execute. So in the next video lectures, we will be doing some other simple programs. So see you then.